and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Ellen's economics correspondent. Each week, I dive into the mores of top economic news stories and fish out compelling narratives or I retrieve fallacies that have been accepted as conventional wisdom by the swamp creatures for years. This week, feeling hungry for relief at the supermarket. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization recently released its March Global Food Price Index. The results? Not good. According to the monthly report, global food prices advanced to a new record high and soared at the fastest pace on record. In March, the index climbed 159.3 points, up 19.15 points in February. Overall, the index is up 33.6% from the same time a year ago and 12.64% month over month. The gains were primarily driven by substantial increases in wheat and grain amid the war in Eastern Europe, as Russia and Ukraine are the world's largest producers and exporters of these agricultural commodities. The vegetable oil price index was also up more than 23% as palm, rapeseed, and soy oil surged because of higher sunflower seed oil and Brent crude oil prices. What's worse is that this problem will not be subsiding anytime soon because diesel prices are skyrocketing and fertilizer prices and shortages are becoming more prevalent in this day and age. And so, as Liberty Nation reported shortly after the first wave of the coronavirus pandemic, the world is going to experience a food crisis, which typically means political and social upheaval. Corinne Fleischer, the UN's World Food Program Regional Director, essentially warned about this, noting in a statement, quote, "People's resilience is at a breaking point. This crisis is creating shockwaves in the food markets that touch every home in this region. No one is spared." As Ellen also noted, several countries are heavily reliant on Ukraine wheat, particularly Sudan, Egypt, and Bangladesh. With output expected to crater, some of these states could suffer from a humanitarian crisis. It is not going to be a pretty picture in the coming months. Back in the United States, President Joe Biden warned about food shortages, although the White House had to walk back this statement and proclaim that this was not going to happen. But of course, anything that goes in this administration and in this economy. The US Department of Agriculture is already sounding the alarm that all food prices will go up this year and the next. Meanwhile, consumers are adjusting to this new environment after going through a sticker shock at the grocery store. More Americans are ditching online grocery shopping and returning to grocery stores to save a few bucks on their bills. More shoppers are returning to coupons to save a few bucks. More customers are turning away from name brands in favor of generic brands. All these different consumer trends are forming in response to rampant price inflation, shrinkflation, and also a new form of inflation that emanated from the global supply chain crisis, shelflation. Unfortunately, there's no escaping this environment. It is impossible to game the system unless you rely on beans and cabbage to survive. Unless you become a breatharian, your purchases of pork, chicken, eggs, milk, and produce are going to be more expensive in the coming months and perhaps years. As Betty Davis said in the terrific 1949 film All About Eve, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column where I discuss US pipelines, Peter Thiel's war on his billionaire pals, and credit growth. Thank you.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
The tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and others.
I can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a real